So I'm going to make some meatloaf today. There's so many different ways to make meatloaf, but this is the way I just have sort of adapted many recipes. This is a pound of ground beef and a pound of turkey sausage. Just happened to be what I had in the freezer instead of pork sausage, so we're just going to put that together. You could either do seasoned pork sausage or just ground pork. You could do just regular turkey. There's a lot of options. So this is just, I'm just going to put together with what I had. I'm going to add a couple of eggs. Some diced onions. This is about a half a cup of diced onions. I add ketchup. You can add chili sauce. You could do Heinz 57 if you want a little zip to it. There's a lot of different sauces you can add. So go to your fridge if you find something that looks kind of fun. Try that. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce, one of my favorite flavors in meatloaf. This is some garlic powder. I usually use garlic powder because I like to put my own salt in. So that was about a tablespoon of garlic powder. I'm going to use some Italian herbs because I happen to know that this turkey sausage is pretty heavily Italian herbed. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of Italian herbs in it. Some salt. Season generously. Some black pepper. And then I'm going to show you a little trick with meatloaf. And this is just one sleeve of saltine crackers crushed up. The best tool for this is actually your hands. I'm just going to break it up a little bit and then use my hands. Some people put celery, carrots, all different kinds of things you could put in a meatloaf, whatever you like. Just want to make sure that the meats are combined, everything comes together. If you need to, if you look at it and it's a little too loose, you can always add more crackers. You can use panko. I have a friend who always uses Ritz crackers. You can use Cheez-Its. You can have a kind of a different flavor to it. Turkey makes it a little bit of a softer meatloaf. So you do want to make sure that you have enough of the cracker or panko or whatever you use. Some people use breadcrumbs. I usually just wing it and use what I have in the house. One of the tricks I've learned through the years is you really can't taste this. You really don't want to put it in the oven. Find out an hour later that it's not very tasty, or it needs more seasoning. So what you do is you get it well mixed. Take a little bit out before you put it in the pan. And I have a saute pan, and I'm just going to put a little bit in a saute pan on medium heat. Flip it over. We're going to taste it before we actually put the whole thing in the pan. So right back. So this is a piece of the meatloaf that I just put in a saute pan, browned it up. It's done now. It looks like it's going to hold together really nicely. So I'm going to give it to one of my taste testers, see how that works out, and we'll get to the next step. Okay, so now I'm going to take the meatloaf, and I'm just going to pat it down. We're going to try to get some of the air bubbles out of it. The air bubbles, if you don't get them out, then they tend to crack when you put the meatloaf together. I have some shredded mozzarella, so I'm going to pat this down to about 1 inch thick. Samson thinks he's going to get a little something still, again. So I'm going to use this shredded mozzarella. I'm just going to put a nice layer in here. And don't put it all the way to the edge because I'm going to roll it up. That's about 1.5 cups of mozzarella. You can use cheddar, you can use whatever cheese you choose. I'm going to roll it up like a sushi. Use the wax paper to help roll it. And I usually will drop it a couple of times. That helps to get some of those other air bubbles out. Make sure they get it tight. I don't want to work it too much just because it will get tougher the more you work it. So, if you have a few little cracks, it's fine. We're going to cover this thing with bacon anyways. I put it on a rack on a sheet tray. Does get, especially with the turkey's a little softer and it does have a lot more liquid in it. So I'm just going to layer the bacon over the top and kind of tuck it in. Some people like a ketchup top. I'm not fond of that, but if you want to do a ketchup top or whatever sauce you decided to put inside it, it's always good to put that on top, maybe a barbecue sauce. And that's it. We're going to put this in the oven, 350 for about an hour. Okay, so this is the meatloaf. It comes out, it's pretty sturdy. I let it rest for about 20 minutes, and we're just going to give it a slice. The bacon is nice and crispy. I'm going to use my slicer. It just makes a really nice clean cut. This is great for meatloaf sandwiches. And as you see, the cheese sort of just disperses inside it. So it's like a big bacon cheeseburger. Some famous mashed potatoes, meatloaf, banana bread. You can look at all the videos online, but you can see how the cheese goes in it. Okay, so I'm just going to lay it out, kind of separate it a little bit. Everybody gets a little bit of bacon, a little bit of cheese. Brush fingers. And there you go. All right, enjoy. A little bit for the dog.